figure this out. All right, here we go. Overlay, new comments will display here. Never miss a comment. Click on a chat message. Okay, all right, we're good. All right, so in this video, we're going to talk about how to get your time back as an owner operator. I've been, just meeting a lot of people who've been joining our school group. It's called the Owner Ops School Group, specifically for owners and operators. I wanted to create that group specifically for people who own and operate businesses who are still in the phase of like actively doing the work out in the field, actively trying to do sales, actively just trying to grow the business and managing all the different hats. I was in this phase whenever I started my business, but there was a clear point in the business when I had to make a decision of, am I going to just continue doing this and running around like a chicken with my head cut off, or am I going to actually commit to building a business? And once I committed to building a business, it was very clear to me that the first thing that needed to happen was you needed to not only find your leaders, but build your leaders. Everybody wants to talk about hiring and delegating. I love thinking about business as like my role here on this earth is to encourage and build other leaders. That's all I'm here to do. And the way that you encourage and build other leaders is you first identify strengths in other people. I'm a firm believer in pouring gas on the fire. If somebody already has a fire, let's just pour gas on that thing and let's let it burn. All right. If somebody's a racehorse, you just need to let that racehorse run. I'm a firm believer that most human beings want to do good. They want to succeed. They want to excel at some sort of career. They want to be known and recognized for what they are doing. But one area I see a lot of owner operators getting stuck in is they're playing the micromanager. In their mind, or in your mind, if you're an owner operator, in my mind, when I was in this phase, nobody can do it better than you. You get trapped in this fallacy of you are the best at doing everything and nobody cares like you do. One thing I hear a lot of people say is like, oh, nobody wants to work anymore. I can't find any good help. I can't find any good employees. It's like, well, you can't find any good employees because you're just pulling the rug out from underneath everybody you try to hire. You're very clear to the people you hire that you are the boss, that you are the best at it, that nobody works as hard as you do. Nobody does it as good as you do. And that ruins people. That demoralizes people. On the flip side, think about the person who has grown the business to tens of millions of dollars a year. How do you think they grew that business? They grew it with people and they grew it with systems. That's all a business is. It's a combination of people and systems. And the people perform best when they know what success looks like. So you as the owner first have to get clear on what success looks like. Now, in your mind right now, you're thinking, oh my gosh, I got to like train and document, show everybody how to do every little detail in the field. We have to grease the machine this way. We have to, like put the irrigation line in this way. We have to cut the tree this way. We have to do it exactly 100% this way. And I think that's a false belief that's holding you back personally. I think the way that you grow the business is you empower other leaders. So what if rather than you telling everybody how to cut the tree or you telling everybody how to lay the irrigation line, what if you found the person in your business who already possesses that strength and that skill and you delegated the role and responsibility of making that decision to them? Right now, everything comes to your desk. Everything comes to your phone. When people have a problem, when people have a question, they're calling you as the owner operator. But it's because you haven't found any other leaders to help you grow the business. And the reality is you likely already have somebody in the business. If you have other employees in the business, they all possess certain strengths. I believe it's up to you as the leader to go find that strength of those people on your team and figure out a way to help them pour gas on their fire that's already burning. A lot of people, I think, get stuck in the mindset of like, oh, I've got to train them and I've got to like get them trained up. And in their mind, they've got to work alongside you and do it your way to become another version of you. I can tell you something you probably don't want to hear right now. The business doesn't need another one of you. And that's a hard thing to hear as an owner operator. The business does not need another one of you. You are a unique person with a unique skill set, and you have a drive and a motor that goes. You can go all day long, you can work hard, you can take the sales calls, you can do all that stuff, but you're really motivated by going and building something bigger than yourself, or maybe you're just motivated by making money. Whatever it is that motivates you as an entrepreneur, it motivates you, and you're willing to put in the 80 to 100 hours per week instead of working a 40-hour corporate job, because there's a reason there for you. But the reality is, you're stuck in this mindset of nobody can do it as good as you can. You have this, oh, I need to train this person up for them to start taking over the business or them to start making decisions. But you don't need to train that person up to do anything. You need to empower that person as a leader. You need to find the leaders in your business. And if you don't have the leaders in your business, your job as the owner is to go recruit and find people who can lead. But right now, if you're an owner operator listening to this, you've got to break the belief of there are no good people out there. People don't want to work hard anymore. I hear it so many times. There's plenty of millennials and Gen Z who work hard. Plenty. You just got to find them. If you fall into the trap of nobody wants to work hard anymore and I can't find any good help, you've already lost. You've already lost, because there's going to be a guy like me who comes into your market who believes that that they can find great people, and they're going to go attract the great talent. So you got to switch this mindset first. The first thing that you have to do as an owner operator is switch the mindset that there are no good people out there, because there are great people out there. And as soon as you switch that false belief into the mindset of there are great people and there are great employees and there are great team members and there are great leaders out there who will help me grow this business, and I can go find them. As soon as you start believing that, you're going to go find those people. Okay. There are plenty of great people out there. Plenty. And in fact, I believe most people actually want to be great at what they do. Most people want to do a good job. I'll tell you one thing that crushes most people is micromanaging them and showing them your way is better. This is how to do it. You're never going to grow a business that way. You're going to cap yourself at your ability. You can physically only work 24 hours in a day. And you can probably do it 2 or maybe 3 days in a row if you were just pounding 5-hour energies the whole time until you absolutely crash. You physically need sleep. So therefore you can't work 24 hours in a day. All right. There are some constraints about the way this whole universe works, right? 24 hours in a day, but you actually need sleep. So the most you could work on a consistent basis is, let's call it 12 to 14 hours consistently, day over day, 7 days a week. And that's like, if you were doing that, even if you were doing 12 to 14 hours a day, running out there in the field, taking calls, meeting with customers, doing everything, you are capped at a certain cap. You can only build the business to a certain level doing that. Even if you work 7 days a week, 12 to 14 hours a day, you will be capped. And if I had to guess, it's going to be somewhere around $500K a year of total top line revenue. Now, there may be guys out there who can go, are doing high ticket services and may be able to generate $1 million with like a small crew, just himself or herself and a small crew. And you work 12 to 14 hours a day and nobody can do it better than you, and you build that business. But you're going to be capped. You're never going to go above and beyond that. Why? Because you need people and you need systems to build the business. But the only way that you get those two things working together is to go find and build leaders. So how do you do this? How do you build leaders? Well, first, you have to let's take an inventory of who you have on your team. I've got a question for you. Who is the best team member you have right now in the field? Who's the best team member? Who is your best employee if you had to pick one? And why? Why is that person? Identify that. Why is that person the best? What's coming through your head right now? You have one person who's coming to mind, and you also have a reason as to why they're the best. If you had to let one person handle all the field related decisions, who would that be and why? Your job as the entrepreneur or as the owner and the operator, if you ever want to get past this solo owner operated phase with a small crew, you've got to figure out who's going to help you build the business. And the first step that you need to figure out is who's going to lead your field crew. Because I can tell you this, you're not growing a business if you're still figuring out maintenance schedules, if you're still figuring out greasing equipment, if you're still ordering parts for the stupid machines. You're not going to grow the business doing that. So therefore, you have to get that off of your plate first. Somebody needs to lead that, and somebody needs to handle all of the decisions, take all of the questions, set clear expectations, build out the SOPs, hire the people in the field. And it's likely not going to be you if you want to grow. Now, maybe some of you possess a certain skill set and you do it opposite of the way I did it. All right. I'm bent more towards, I like marketing, I like sales, I like software implementation, I like building systems, I like high level strategy. Those are my strengths as an owner. Okay. Your strengths as an owner may be 100% field related. So this could be different for some of you out there. And if your strength is 100% field related, then you likely need to take a different path than I've taken in my business. And I'll talk about that here in a second. But for starters, most of you need to go find somebody else to handle the field if you actually want to grow the business. So that's step one. Figure out who's leading your field. But like Austin, I, I don't know if I can, I still want to be involved. Like I want to be involved in the day to day. I don't know if they can make decisions. Like most people are competent human beings, and the stuff that you're doing, especially if you're a local service business, isn't complicated. It's not that complicated. If you're cutting trees, sure, there's some safety stuff going in, but go recruit the professional arborist. If you're laying irrigation line and landscaping, that's not rocket science. Okay. Newsflash, there are people who can do it as good as you can as the owner operator and likely even better than you can. If you're operating a skid steer, mini excavator, there are better operators than you are as the owner operator. As much as you like to think you're the best one on the crew, there are people in your town and your community who are better operators than you are. And there are probably a lot of them. If you're anything like me, I move too fast in a machine and breakdowns just happen. That's not the best place for me in the business. Can I operate equipment? Of course, yes. I grew up doing it. It's fun. I enjoy it. But I'm not going to grow the business from inside the seat of the skid steer. Why? Because when you're inside the seat of the skid steer, you need to be 100% focused on the task at hand. Or when you're running an excavator, it's a dangerous task, especially for other people around. If you're on a construction site, you need to be 100% focused. If you're a strategic, growth minded business owner, the fact that you're trying to grow the business in your head while you're in the seat is not safe for anybody, and it's less productive. So your role is to go find that person to lead the field crew. And what that means is that person makes all the decisions associated with the field. Equipment, is it field related? You answer that. Do I create our maintenance schedules? Was it field related? You answer that. The sooner you find other leaders to help you make decisions, and the sooner you start trusting other people, the sooner your business starts to grow. So, step one is to find the field crew. Step two, after you find that field crew, your job is to go focus on sales. Like sales is the lifeblood of the business. Now that you have a field crew leader in place, you need to go make sure the pipeline is full. You need to feed the beast, right? Field crew. Oh, but what about hiring field employees? We just found your field crew leader, right? Is it field related? Yes, that is your responsibility. Whoever you assign as the leader of the field crew. Okay. Once you get somebody else to help you handle this perspective or this side of the business, you can focus on the sales. And your job as the entrepreneur or the owner operator at that point is to fill the next most important role. And the next most important role is sales rep and project manager. All right. So everything back office that needs to be handled associated with the project, sending quotes, sending invoices, meeting with customers on site, getting the notes, getting the details. That's what you should do. While your field crew's running, you should be keeping the pipeline full. Figuring out how to get new leads, how to close new jobs, how to put jobs on the schedule, and how to make sure the outline of the job is very clear in some sort of note-taking system or software system. We use Jobber. We absolutely love Jobber. If you need a field crew management software, look no further than Jobber. I've vetted a bunch of different options. There are other options out there, but Jobber works great. If you're any small service-based business, 0 to 5 million, Jobber will work great for it, especially if you're project-based. It even works for our snow plowing business in the wintertime, where we have recurring visits that need to take place. So if you do want to grab that, they offer a 14-day free trial. And if you use my link, you'll get a 20% off discount for your first 6 months. You can use my link, go.getjobber.com/ownerops. That's go.getjobber.com/OWNROPS. So at that phase of the business, you are doing all the sales, making sure your field crew has enough work. Okay. Then your next job is to go find a salesperson. But Austin, like nobody can sell as good as I can in my business. Another news flash. There are people who are as good and better than you at sales, even at your own business, because you're likely just selling off a passion right now when you're in this phase. You care so much about the business that you will get the project however or doing whatever it takes. But you likely don't have a professional sales process because you're still managing back office. You're making sure the field crew is like, you're making sure that your field crew leader is all set. He's got everything that he needs. You're thinking about, okay, what's the marketing strategy that we need to do here? Maybe we need to run Facebook ads. We need to get Google reviews. Like you got a million things going through your head. So your sales process is likely not buttoned up. When you hire your first sales professional, you're going to figure out that there are people who are as good, if not better, than you at sales. There are people who can sell your services in your business better than you can in your own business. And your job is to go find that person. So that's sort of step two. So step one, you need somebody to lead the field crew. Step two, you need to find your person to lead all customer communications. In this phase of business, that person can do sales and project management. Somewhere in between 1 and 2 million, that role is going to have to split in between a salesperson and a project manager. But if you're kind of like right at the 7-figure mark, that person should be able to handle sales and project management, especially with the support of somebody back office. So the third person you need, and this should likely even come it should either come before your field crew leader comes in place or right along the same time. You need somebody in your back office to help you with back office tasks like scheduling site appointments, answering the inbound phone calls. Hey, this is Austin from Bear Claw Land Services. How may I help you? You need somebody to answer that and use that phone script, collect customer information about the job, portray that information to your salesperson, book those site visits from the inbound phone calls on your salesperson's calendar. You need somebody to help support your salesperson while they're out in the field, sending quotes, estimates, making updates to the job schedule, sending invoices, following up on invoices, responding to text, emails from customers, responding to Facebook, Instagram DMs, or comments, managing your social media. This is a lot of things that early stage owner operators just disregard because in their mind, they don't have enough time for it. But if you hire somebody, even just part-time, 4 hours a day, 20 to 25 bucks an hour, there is somebody in your town or in your community who is a perfect fit for that role. And they likely understand how to run a computer or how to leverage software better than you do. I love hiring Gen Z. I love hiring millennials. Why? Because most people are computer savvy. It's funny when you listen to a lot of other people. Oh, the Gen Z and millennials just don't want to work. No, they want to work. They just work differently. And you got to figure out how to adapt to the new age of workforce. This is why the people who are aging out and retiring, they're just old and tired because they don't understand the new generations of millennials and Gen Z in the workforce. And if you can understand how these people want to work and what motivates them, you just set them up correctly. And then you ask them to help you with the certain things. It's incredible whenever you hire somebody and you say, hey, here's what we need done. Like in our platforms at a high level, we need somebody to help send quotes, schedule jobs, send invoices, follow up on invoices inside of Jobber. And then we need somebody to use our sales and marketing platform and owner ops. And then from there, like you have free reign to do it as best as you think you can, or the best way possible that you can figure out how to do it. When you give people the freedom to make their own decisions and figure out how to get there and just really clear on the expectations of what needs to be done at a high level, then those people start taking things off of your plate as the owner. Because right now, if you're an owner operator, there's a really good chance that you're not growing the business because you think that you have to make all the decisions first. You think that you have to go solve the problems first and then teach everyone else how to do it because you're likely a problem solver. You're likely someone who can go into anything and just figure it out. If you want to grow the business, you got to have other leaders in place, especially at the early stage, who can help you do that as well. I'm a firm believer in setting clear expectations for what success looks like and then empowering other people to make the decisions on their own for how to best get there. You don't need to be making every decision. In fact, you can't make every decision in the business if you want it to grow. The sooner you realize that as an owner operator, and the sooner you realize that you are part of a team rather than just the person up here micromanaging everybody, the sooner you're going to be able to let go of the vine and allow other people to start making decisions. They're human beings. Like, they've been raised in an age where we have access to information at our fingertips. Most people can figure things out if you just trust them. Now, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of people out there who, yeah, we've all had bad employees or bad team members before, right? And we all know what we're talking about. But when you find somebody who possesses a good trait or a good quality, I'm encouraging you to go help them lean into that quality and ask them to make their own decisions for how to best do their job. When you do that, people are going to be more bought in because they will have some decision making power in their day-to-day job. That's what people want. Sure, maybe there are some people out there who just want to be told what to do. This is what I need to do on a day-to-day, and I want to clock in and clock out. And if that's truly what that person wants out of their life and out of their job, then you just find the right role for them. You find the right role for that person working underneath a leader who's going to help you make decisions. But in the early days, you've got to find other people who can help you make the decisions. Once again, I'll come back to these services that you're offering. Oh, but Austin, like, I've got a specific way to clean the windows, and like, nobody can do it as good as me. It's like, well, I bet you there's somebody who can do it 90% as good as you can. And I bet you that if you just turned over the vine for how to give them the freedom to figure out how to get from 90 to 100, I bet you they could get there on their own. You just haven't given up the vine. You're just pulling the rug out from underneath them time and time again and crushing them as a human being and not allowing them to make their own decisions and make their own mistakes to get better. Nothing's going to be perfect. Never is. Do we commit to delivering 5-star service on every project? Yes, absolutely. Are some of our guys going to make mistakes? Yes, absolutely. As long as they learn from the mistakes, I'm never going to be mad at them. If something happens once, it's a learning lesson. Something happens twice, it's a mistake. But you've got to give people the freedom to learn from their mistakes. If you just crush people every time they make one mistake, they're never going to be able to make decisions. They're going to be hesitant. They're going to move slow. They're not going to make decisions for themselves. They're going to call you every time that there's a flat tire. Hey, boss, what do I need to do? Like, I never want to get that phone call. I want people on our team who know how to make decisions for themselves. We run everything through a filter here. I'll never forget one of my college coaches. I was fortunate enough to have two really good head coaches just throughout playing sports growing up. One of our coaches came from Alabama, came off 2 national championships. He came in to our first team meeting and he said, I've got one role. We're all like, what's he going to say? I've got one role. I don't care what you do, but you have to follow this one rule. Everybody's like, what is it? I'll never forget what he said. Do what's right. He said, in every single scenario of life, you are going to have a decision to make. Your gut is going to tell you what's right and what's wrong. You're going to know what's right. Do that. That stuck with me. Personal, professional, physical, mental, doesn't matter. You're always going to know that gut feeling of what's right and what's wrong. So we've taken it a little, like, we start with that in our business, and then we take it one step further. If you ever have a decision to make in the field, if you're ever questioning on whether you should or should not do something, Here's an easy framework for you to follow. Our goal is to deliver 5-star service on every project. If this decision moves us closer to a 5-star review, then the answer is yes, do it. If the decision you are about to make moves us further away from a 5-star review from the customer, then the answer is no, do not do that. Very simple. I'm a firm believer in building other leaders. The only way to grow the business is if multiple people are all moving a boulder up the hill. It's way harder to push the boulder up the hill by yourself. So much easier if you have a team of people pushing that boulder up the hill. And the faster you get that boulder to the top of the hill, it starts rolling down on its own. So you can sit here and push and push and push and push and push for years and years on end trying to micromanage everybody, or you can just be humble, ask for some help. There's nothing wrong with asking for other people for your help, for their help. You see, right now, if you're an owner operator, you think that nobody can do it as good as you can do it. Nobody can do it better. You also think that every single job has to be checked off or managed by you. And I believe it's a false belief. I also believe it's holding you back from growing your business. I also believe it's keeping a ton of your time sucked into your business when you should be, if you want to grow, if the goal is growing the business, there are like 14 other things that you should be thinking about right now. But you're not able to do it because you're so embedded in the micromanaging other people to make sure that you deliver a great service. And that's a great quality to have. You actually, like, you caring about delivering a great service. We're not knocking that. We need more people like you. But you're holding yourself back because you're not trusting other people to fulfill the great service. What if you, in your next team meeting, took a step back and said, hey, guys and gals, our goal is to deliver 5-star service. Very simply put, I need your help. I can't do everything here. I've got a lot of stuff that I need to focus on if we need to grow. I need some of you to step up as leaders. I'm looking for leaders right now. We're going to grow this business with or without you. So if you're with me, step up. I'm looking for leaders. Who here wants to lead? What if you did that in your next team meeting? What if you got some people? What if there's that one person who just wants to lead, but you've been pulling the rug out from underneath him time and time again because you're correcting him on the way that he's doing things because you think it's better to use the shovel this way and put the irrigation line in this way? Never going to grow that way. The goal is to deliver 5-star service. Here's the shovel. I'm going to go focus on how to get us leads and how to sell more jobs. Okay. I'm trusting you. I'm asking that you trust me. This isn't, I think a lot of owner operators get sucked into the fact that they think that their field crew is going to not respect them if they're not in the field. Because if you're like me, I grew up working in the field every summer. I worked stamped concrete for my dad. I associated making money with hard physical labor, and it was really hard for me to pull out of that in the beginning. But I also knew that I was never going to grow the business if I just kept doing the work. You have a false belief in your mind right now that other people, your field crew or your team is going to disrespect you because you're sitting in the office and you're just sitting back. It's like, I can tell you, I hadn't been in the field for, I guess this is the second full year, and I've worked more than I have when I was in the field because there is always something that needs to be done. And I can guarantee you this right now. You're not aware of all the things that need to be done right now in your business. Once you get the field off of your plate, you will realize what actually needs to be done. Look, I'm not trying to be some guru online. Like I haven't grown a 10, 20, $30 million business like some of the people we've had on the podcast, right? And I don't claim to be that person. But what I do know how to do and what I have done is I have started from scratch. I have built a business up from scratch and I have been in your phase as an owner operator. I have been in the phase of I feel like I have to make every decision. I feel like I have to micromanage. But what I realized is that was all self-induced. It was nobody else's fault other than myself. It was because what I felt or thought other people were thinking of me. When the reality is the people don't care if you're in the field or not. What they care about is the having the expectation set very clearly for what their role and responsibility looks like to succeed. I'm a firm believer that people just want to know what success looks like. Right now, if you're still making every decision, or if you're stuck in the mindset of like, I can't find anybody who's good, I can't find any good help, people don't want to work. The problem is actually you. The problem is that you haven't set any clear expectations for what success looks like from your other team members. That's your responsibility. Everybody wants to talk about, on all these podcasts and everything, you need to have this 5-year vision. It's like bullcrap. You just need to take the next step. You need to figure out what this week looks like. What does this week look like? What do I need to figure out this week? Who do I need to build up as a leader this week? Our goal is simple. Like, I don't have any crazy 5-year vision or 10-year vision. I just want to build a great business with great people that delivers great service. And the only way that you do that is if you just show up and you put one foot in front of the other every single day, string days together into weeks and string weeks together into months and then months together into years. But on a Sunday morning, after we get back from church, I'm going to go think about what does this week look like? If I could only accomplish one thing this week, what would that be? What's a perfect week look like this week? If I could say, hey, this week is awesome, what would that look like? And I'm going to challenge you to do the same. What does this week look like as a successful week? What does success look like this week? Be really clear on that. Write it down right now. What does success look like this week? Do you even know what success looks like this week? It's probably worth taking some time if you don't know the answer to that. What does success look like for you this week? Because if you don't know what success looks like for you, you don't even know where to start defining success for other people in your business. So that's my challenge for you today. What does a successful week look like for you this week? And then, number 2, answer this. Are the people in your business clear on the expectations for their roles and their responsibilities? And if they're not, I would encourage you to get clear on the idea of the role and responsibility you have for each person in your business. The last thing I would leave you here with is as you start to think about, let's do this. Let's do this for today. Just think about who is your best team member. If you had to pick one person to lead the field crew, who would that be and why? And start with that. All right, I'm going to wrap up. Get ready to go to church here. And hope y'all have a very blessed Sunday. God bless. And make it a great week out there. All right. We'll see y'all. I'm going to start doing more of these live streams. We'll see y'all next week. If anybody has a comment, who do we have on here? Anybody want to leave a comment? Introduce yourself, where you're from, business you're working on. I'm using this software called Restream, so I don't know if I can see your comments or not. It says I will. If you have a question about your business, I'm more than happy to answer here. I'll stay on for another minute or so here. If you've got a question, here we go. Carrington Dillon. Awesome. Carrington, where are you? Is this Carrington Dillon or Dylan Carrington? Austin, this was great. Thank you. Yeah, for sure, man. Awesome. Handyman business in Charlotte, North Carolina. What's you solo? You got a team? Sweet. Carrington, what's one thing that you've been thinking through in your business right now? 4 full-time and 2 co-owners. Okay, cool. What do you feel like your biggest challenge is right now? Cool. We're right at hiring an admin coordinator and a field supervisor. Okay. So I just had another coaching call this morning with another business exactly your size. And my question for him, and I'll ask you the same thing, was who on your 4 full-time employee list, if you had to pick one, would be a field crew leader? Cool. Exactly what you're discussing today. Well, I'm glad it resonated, man. I think there's a million podcasts out there who talk about building 20, 30, $50 million businesses, and none of that big stuff resonated with me whenever I was building the business. And so I've had a lot of fun just interviewing other people in the early stages. And I've also just kind of seen some similarities with people. So I'm here to share kind of what's worked for me and also what did not work. But I don't claim to know it all. I just claim to have gone through those solo owner operated stages and kind of the early like the early small team size stages. And I think the thing I would share there is just whoever you decide or whoever you pick in the field, just be really clear with your team who is making the field decisions. And the sooner you can be really clear with those people, and the sooner everybody knows who is making those decisions, the sooner you're going to get more time back as an owner. And then from there, like when I hosted Nick Huber on the podcast, he talked a lot about this too. He was like, look, in the beginning, you have to trade your time for money. You have to trade your time for money. Whenever he was starting his moving business, he talked a lot about the same thing. Like we were just trading our time for money to get the business up and going. But he said something, and I was really curious to hear his thoughts on this. Like, at what point do you know, like, when do you know when to pull those hiring levers or hiring triggers, right? Or the leadership position levers? And his response was interesting enough to put a lot of thought into this, or a little bit of thought, I guess. He said, once you dip below the mark of being able to allocate 25% of your time to sales, it's time to hire. Something we talked a lot about on that podcast was how important sales is. So the owner in the early days, like, you're likely the best fit for sales until you find a seasoned sales professional. But yeah, whenever he was talking about the second you're not able to allocate at least 25% of your time to sales is when you need to start making a hire. And so, like, coming back to that, I've put more thought into that. So I think all of my thoughts and talk about building leaders inside the business this morning comes back to that first decision of figuring out who's going to lead the field crew so that you can get the field stuff off of your plate as the owner and then focus on sales. And then, like I said earlier in the live stream, if you're here for, I don't know if you're here for all of it or not, but then the next thing is, if you find somebody who is a sales professional, things start moving really, really fast at that point. And that's kind of where we're at right now. So last year we brought on first full-time sales. Like, he's handling sales and project management still at this phase, but it's really close to breaking. Like, he's sent about $2 million of quotes over the last 2 months. He's averaging $1 million each month in quotes. And like, we're just actively monitoring his close rate, because if those things start closing, like, now his project management role is like going to be really, really time intensive. And so what I'm trying to keep a pulse on as an owner is, like, when does he either need a counterpart and we split the sales and project management roles, or yeah, actually that's what we're going to do. But like right at this point, he just needs more support from the back office based on our conversations. So we went, and I'm a big believer in, like, find the local. I'm a Christian. I'm plugged into to our church, and we have a couple Bible camps out here. I love hiring people at the Bible camps, because usually have great morals and values. Work ethic is great, and there are usually people who are just looking for, like, part-time work, and like a 4 hour a day part-time gig is actually ideal for them. And then whenever you find the right person, like the first person we hired was with a local church organization. Her husband worked at that organization, and she was just working at a coffee shop. And I offered her a job. She came on. She was with us for like the first 18 months of business. She was great. She's actually had a finance degree, way overqualified for the job, but she helped us organize our back office. And yeah, they ended up getting another opportunity, so they moved on. But yeah, great human being, and she helped us build that. And then at that point, I sort of took back over back office admin for a while, because we had found a field crew leader, and then we had found this sales and project manager. And so then I moved back into the role of, like, being in the office, supporting them, making sure that they had everything they needed on quotes, invoices, all that good stuff. And then we recently just hired someone else, did the same thing. Just husband works at the Bible camp, and she was looking for some part-time work. And so, yeah, brought her on in kind of just a marketing coordinator role in the beginning to help support with some of our, like, postcard deliveries and mailers and things like that. And I outlined the vision with Zoom on kind of what I was asking her to do. It was really clear with the expectation, and she just took it and ran with it. So at the end of 3 weeks, I was like, hey, if you want to come on, like, I've got way more that you could help us with. And so we brought her on. Now she's answering all of our phones. She's doing, she's helping our sales guy in the office support him with sending quotes, sending estimates, scheduling jobs, making changes, keeping our CRM pipeline up to date, things like that. Hey, Carrington. I'm not sure if you're in the school group or not. I got to go get my daughter out the door to get to church here. Um, but would love to meet you. Your name looks familiar, so I apologize if you are in the school group and we haven't formally met yet. But would love to get you in the free school group there. I share a bunch of resources here, and would love to just set up a time to meet you. And if there's any way I can help, um, that's what I'm here to do. All right, make it a great week. Have a blessed Sunday. God bless. We'll talk to y'all later.